Jacob Reynolds was the kind of person everyone liked, bright, hardworking, and generous. A 27-year-old software developer in Charlotte, North Carolina, he had just launched a successful startup and was living his dream. He lived in a modern apartment, drove a modest car, and had big plans to expand his company. Jacob's best friend since college, Miles Carter, had also joined his company as a co-founder. The two had been inseparable since their university days, business partners by day, gaming buddies by night. But beneath the surface, tension brewed. While Jacob was outgoing and optimistic, Miles was more reserved, insecure, and financially unstable. Though both were equal partners in the company, Jacob was seen as the visionary, the leader who attracted investors and press. Miles often felt overshadowed and underappreciated. Their disagreements became frequent, about product direction, budget use, and hiring decisions. Miles, struggling with mounting personal debts and resentment, began making risky financial decisions without Jacob's knowledge. By October 2017, Jacob had discovered that thousands of dollars were missing from the company's bank account. He traced the transactions back to Miles, who had used company funds to pay off credit card debt and personal bills. Jacob was furious, but instead of involving the police, he told Miles he wanted to dissolve the partnership. He offered Miles a small payout to walk away quietly, and warned him not to return to the office again. That decision would cost Jacob his life. On November 2, 2017, Jacob returned home after meeting with potential investors. Neighbors later reported seeing a man in a hoodie enter Jacob's building around 9:30 p.m. Surveillance cameras caught a blurred figure using what appeared to be a copied key. The next morning, Jacob's body was discovered by his housekeeper. He had been stabbed 14 times in his kitchen. The apartment was in disarray, but nothing was stolen. His laptop, wallet, and phone were all in place. This wasn't a robbery. It was personal. Detectives quickly began investigating those closest to Jacob. Miles Carter told police he hadn't seen Jacob in over a week, but inconsistencies in his story raised red flags. Jacob's security system showed signs of tampering. More telling, detectives found footprints near the back entrance. They matched shoes Miles had been seen wearing days earlier. Things unraveled further when detectives uncovered threatening text messages from Miles to Jacob a few days before the murder. One message read, "You think you can just cut me out? You'll regret this." The smoking gun came from the GPS data on Miles's car. It placed him near Jacob's apartment the night of the murder, contradicting his alibi. Police arrested Miles Carter on November 10, 2017, charging him with first-degree murder. Under interrogation, Miles initially denied everything. But eventually, the pressure got to him. He confessed that he had entered Jacob's apartment using a spare key he had never returned. His plan was to scare Jacob, force him to change his mind about the company split. But when Jacob confronted him and threatened to report the embezzlement, Miles lost control. He claimed it was a heat-of-the-moment act. But the multiple stab wounds, the copied key, and the threatening texts suggested premeditation. At his 2019 trial, prosecutors painted a clear picture. Jealousy, greed, and betrayal had led Miles to murder the person who trusted him the most. The defense argued temporary insanity, but the jury didn't buy it. In May 2019, Miles Carter was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Jacob's family spoke at the sentencing, describing the betrayal as the cruelest kind. A murder committed not by a stranger but by a best friend who had been welcomed into their home and lives. Jacob's startup was shut down after his death, but his parents later launched a scholarship fund in his name for aspiring tech entrepreneurs. Miles Carter is currently serving life in prison with no chance of parole.